Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Unit 3B Pretest. Hi, how you guys doing? Getting all this work done. Good job. All right, so now we're doing questions on solving for sides. All right, things you need to solve for missing sides. Well, you need to know SohCahToa, you need to know your trig ratios, and we're going to either use a chart. I'll be using a calculator actually. I find that a little easier and a little bit algebra. All right, so let's see what we have going here. Find the missing side using one of the trig ratios. All right, one of the trig ratios. So that means, and let's get our pencil locked and loaded. So that means we want so, ca, or toa. All right, find the missing side. So what we did is we said, okay, I'm at the indicated angle. So that means 55 degrees. That's where you are. Then you have to identify, is it opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? You have to identify the other sides. So I know the two sides that always point to me are the hypotenuse and the adjacent. So the one across from me must be opposite. So what do we have here? Well, there's no number on hypotenuse, so I only have the opposite and adjacent sides. So then we ask what trig ratio uses opposite and adjacent? It's TOA. See the opposite and adjacent? So that means tan of 55 degrees needs the opposite side and the adjacent side, which in this case, the opposite is x and the adjacent is 4. Look at this lovely trig equation I have here now. Tan 55 equals x over 4. Now, the big deal here is we want to get x alone. Why do we want to get x alone? Well, when x is alone, then that's our answer, right? The other side of the equal sign is our answer. So in order to do this, I see in this equation, I see x is being divided by 4. So if I multiply both sides by 4, then those cancel. And really, my answer, my final answer then is just going to be 4 times tan of 55. And that's here. That's our missing side length. It's just that simple, folks. How cool is that, that you can know one angle and one side length and find another missing side length? I think trigonometry is so clever. All right, before I use my calculator, I have to do one thing. I have to make sure it's in the right mode because we want degree degree mode. In order to know if it's in degree mode, if you do the sine of 90, and it equals 1, then you're in the right mode. So let me check my calculator. Sine of 90, yes, it's 1. I'm in the right mode. So now I can continue. 4 times tan of 55 equals 5.7. Well, there you go. 5.7 equals x. That means this side length, this missing side length, is 5.7 units long. All right, let's go down to number 9. And before we start number 9, I'm going to write the ever important SohCahToa, right? Because that's how, and when we unpack that, then we know how to set up our equations. All right, first thing is, where are you standing? Well, you're always standing wherever that degree is, so I'm right here. Then we have to identify our side lengths. I know the two side lengths that always point to me are hypotenuse and adjacent, and the other one is opposite. So if I look here, I see that I have, there's no adjacent number or letter, so I only have opposite and hypotenuse. What side length only uses opposite and hypotenuse? Why, that would be sine. So sine of that 68 degrees is going to equal the opposite side over the hypotenuse side. So sine of 68 equals the opposite side is 10, and the hypotenuse side is x. There you go. Well, in this case, x is in the denominator. So now x is being divided. So this is going to end up being a two-step equation, because first I have to get x in the numerator. So now my new equation is, you know what, let's move it over here. My new equation is x times sine of 68 equals 10. But then you say, hey, wait a minute, x is not alone, is it? No, it isn't. So in order to get x alone, I have to divide both sides by sine of 68, divide both sides by sine of 68. So what I end up having, because these two guys are going to cancel now, x will be whatever 10 divided by sine of 68 is. And since I already checked for the mode, I'll just ask my calculator. 10 divided by sine of 68, and I'm getting 10.78. 10.78, well, 10.78 rounds to 10.8. So that means this side, this hypotenuse side, is 10.8 units long. 10.8. Two-step equation, people. All right, let's go to number 10. Find the missing side using one of the trigonomic ratios. Okay, again, you are at the angle that's indicated. And the two sides that point to you are adjacent and hypotenuse, and opposite's the other one. Well, if I use SohCahToa, let's go ahead and write that down. What side? So there's no opposite side, so there's only adjacent and hypotenuse. What trig ratio only uses adjacent and hypotenuse? Look at that. It's cosine. So cosine of that angle 61 equals the adjacent side over the hypotenuse side. Whoops, let's change our color here. So that means cosine of 61 equals the adjacent side is 6 divided by the hypotenuse, which is x. Oh, look, x is in the denominator again. Well, in class, we talked about a shortcut. When you have on either side of the equal sign, when you have something in the numerator on one side and denominator on the other, these guys can just switch places. Because if we look back at what we did, let's look back for just a second on this guy. Notice how if I just switched sine of 68 and x, I would have ended up with this. I could have gone straight to that one. Notice x became on top and 68, sine of 68 became on bottom. So that's really a shortcut you can do, if you all remember that. That these two can switch places. So that gives me x equals 6 divided by cosine 61. And let's ask our calculator. Hey, calculator, what is 6 divided by cosine 61? 12.37599, or x equals 12.4. X equals 12.4 because we're rounding to the 10th on all of these. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And this video was about how to find missing side lengths using trigonometry.